Today, we are going to be going through 1, 2, 3, 4 paid media campaign mistakes that you can fix during the length of this video. It's going to be super easy. We're going to identify the problem, show you how to solve it, and show you how to implement the change into your business. Let's get started. The first one is going to be your landing page. When you're running ads on Meta, almost all of the time, you're going to be sending people to a landing page. And a massive mistake that some people make is only looking at the landing page themselves. This means that they're not taking the time to have outside input from strangers on what the conversion rate is going to be. And what that actually means is that you could have a fantastic ad and still not be profitable because they will go to your landing page and then they will fail to convert. So how do you identify if this is the problem that your ads are having? And the easiest thing to do is look at the click-through rate of your advertisement and compare it to the conversion rate of your landing page. If you have a click-through rate that is above 2% on your Meta ad, it's probably good. While if you move to your conversion rate and it's below 1%, there is 100% ways that you could improve that conversion rate, especially if these are things like retargeting ads where you have a higher motivation audience. So how do you fix it? The best way is that you hand your phone or send your website to a random stranger and you say, I'm gonna give you a 100% discount and free shipping if you try to order this product, and give me thoughts on how much you like the landing page, what you did understand, what you didn't understand, and just explain the checkout process to me. Most people will do that in return for getting a free product, especially if you don't require a card for the purchase, so they know they're not gonna get scammed later on. And then you will get honest feedback. For most e-commerce product, that's gonna cost you $20 and a little bit of time and maybe some embarrassment if you have a really bad landing page, but it's gonna save you hundreds or thousands of dollars of revenue that you would have missed if you had not done that process. Friends can work for this, but you're gonna get better feedback if it's people who have never experienced you or your brand in the past. Mistake number 2 is not knowing what your maximum CPA has to be for your Facebook ads to be profitable. And this is a massive mistake. Turning on your ads and not knowing the exact number that your CPA has to stay below is going to cause you to lose money. Why? Because you can tell Facebook what your target CPA is, and it will attempt to optimize for a lower number than that. And let's talk about what the symptom is. If you feel like your ads are profitable and you're running ads and you're getting sales, but you just aren't seeing any money in your bank account at the end of the month, it's probably because you don't know the math. Here's how you fix it. 1, go to your product and look at your gross profit margins. What that is how much you sell the product for minus the cost to send it to the customer. That includes your cost of shipping, the cost of the actual product, and if you want to, any additional costs such as bonuses or subscriptions that you include on that initial purchase. Then the remaining amount, let's say it's 20% or 30% of your sale value, is the maximum that Facebook can charge you to get a person to buy your product. Let's say, for example, it's $15. If your CPA ends up being $18, even though it's way less than the sale price of your product, you're still losing $3 for every person that buys. You gotta know this number and know how to fix it. So how do you make your CPA lower? You make better ads, which is what we're gonna be getting into with mistake number 3. Mistake number 3 is using target market or not targeting at all instead of using ICP. Now, I have multiple videos on how important and how awesome ICP is as a targeting metric, but I will tell you how you can identify if this is the problem that you need to immediately solve for your business. You look at your ads, and if you spend the entire time talking about your product or your business or the offer in hand instead of the problem that it solves or talking about the experience of the consumer, then you are likely using target market or no targeting at all, and you simply are not talking about the right thing. What ends up happening is that people see your ad and they see it as an ad instead of a problem-solving tool that they can use for their life. So how do you fix it? What you want to do is come up with the perfect customer for your brand. And a lot of the time, you just need to make an educated guess. Why an educated guess? If you have less than 500 customers, you probably have not seen your perfect customer yet, but you do know who you solve problems for. Think of the biggest problems that your business solves. You want to relate your ICP directly to those problem statements and just pick the strongest one and start with that. Then take all of your ads and reverse engineer your hooks, your call to actions, and your main body of the ad to talk about that problem and how you solve it for a specific person. Let Meta target the right audience. That's why they stole so much data. Mistake number 4, and this is a pretty common one for people who have tight budgets, is killing your ads before you know if they're gonna work. Now, to be clear, I only need 48 to 72 hours by leveraging the ICP stuff that we talked about in the last mistake, and it makes the learning phase shorter because Meta, using Andromeda, can advertise to the right person faster. Here's what I mean. So this mistake is turning on an ad and then waiting 3 or 4 days, not seeing the result that you're wanting, and turning it off. A lot of the time, especially if you're doing broad targeting or you don't have a very specific target in mind, that is not enough time for Meta to identify who your most profitable audience is going to be. However, you can make this timeline much shorter and solve this problem inherently by using ICP. That's why I talked about it before this. If you clarify your target market in your headlines, in your creative, in the person who is saying the things in your video, then Meta will be able to identify the target market of your business much faster. Now, these mistakes are not embarrassing. If you're making these mistakes, it's totally common, and I have seen even highly experienced advertisers fall into one or multiple of these mistakes. That is why I created this video, so that you could avoid them. And the best part is I have a free trial where I will go into your business, go into your ad account, create all the creatives, and solve it for free. You pay $0 upfront. Then when you get those great results, we switch to a profit split model where I get a percentage of the sales that I drove your business. If that sounds interesting to you, all you have to do is go to the first link in the description and I will fill out the form and I'll see you there.